My bored husband left our family for his young mistress, and when she became pregnant, the truth came to light, changing my life forever. I had been married to my 42-year-old husband Michael for 20 years. What started as friendship blossomed into love over time. I was drawn to Michael's introverted nature and gentle personality, like a moth to a warm, comforting flame. After graduation, I wanted to jump straight into my career, but Michael had other plans. He told me he wanted to travel the world for a year. I wasn't surprised when he said he wanted to quit his good job, as he had always talked about seeing different places. While I moved into a small apartment and started my new job, Michael agreed to travel alone. He made preparations for his journey, and despite coming from a middle-class family with student loans to pay, he had managed to save money from his part-time work for the trip. I chose to prioritize his dream of seeing the world, pushing my own aspirations aside. Saying goodbye at the airport was heart-wrenching, though he promised to keep in regular contact. At first, everything seemed perfect, like a well-scripted movie. Michael sent daily messages about the places he visited and the foods he tried. In his photos, he looked happy and excited, his eyes sparkling with adventure. My heart swelled with joy seeing him living his dream, even as I missed him terribly. I shared stories about my office days and work life with him. Michael listened, but often commented that I was wasting my life trapped in an office while he was having amazing experiences. As time passed, Michael began experiencing problems during his travels. His wallet was stolen at a hostel, noisy roommates kept him from sleeping, and he struggled with the heat in several countries. He frequently asked me to send money for food and bus fares, his requests becoming more regular like clockwork. Michael tried to find work, but without the proper visa, it proved difficult. He made friends with other travelers and went to parties with them, his social circle expanding like ripples in a pond. He sent photos of his adventures, but soon started complaining that some group members were difficult to deal with, leading to occasional arguments. I told him he could always come home if he needed a break, but although he considered it, he didn't accept the offer. One night, Michael called me crying, saying he was homesick and wanted to return. Without hesitation, I booked his flight since he couldn't afford it, my heart racing at the thought of reuniting with my husband after so long. When I picked him up at the airport, I was shocked to see a large bruise on his face, as if someone had hit him. He wore sunglasses, barely opening his eyes beneath them. Michael hugged me tightly, but when I gently asked what had happened, worry gnawed at my stomach. He ignored the question and started kissing me, trying to distract me from my concerns. He seemed to have lost considerable weight during his travels, his clothes hanging loose on his frame. When I asked about his face again, Michael kept avoiding the question, and my worry grew like a shadow at sunset. I decided to give him space, hoping he would open up to me when he was ready. When we got home, Michael expressed surprise at how nice the house looked. He said he had missed sleeping in a real bed and taking warm showers, simple comforts we often take for granted. I had him help with the laundry and cleaning while I prepared his favorite meal for dinner and bought his preferred drinks from the store. As we began eating dinner, I noticed he suddenly stopped eating while excitedly discussing our weekend plans. I asked if he was okay, and I could see tears in his eyes. When I moved closer and asked what was wrong, Michael broke down crying and held me tightly. Finally, he confessed that he had made a terrible mistake. I remained silent as he explained that something had happened that he never wanted to happen. When I asked if it was related to his face, he nodded with guilt written across his features. Taking a deep breath, he began telling me about how he had become attracted to a woman in his travel group. My heart sank when Michael described her as free-spirited and fun-loving, just like himself. He said he had unintentionally fallen in love with her and felt horrible about it. He knew he shouldn't do anything because she also had a boyfriend. However, on the night he called me crying, he and the group had been drinking heavily. Somehow, Michael and this woman ended up alone in an alley, and she kissed him. He admitted that he enjoyed it and didn't stop it, but then her boyfriend found them and started yelling. The situation escalated, and her boyfriend punched Michael in the face. I stood there feeling numb with shame and anger as Michael explained that he had lost his mind at that moment and didn't know what he was doing. He said he came back to me feeling terribly guilty about the affair and felt he needed to confess. After Michael's confession, I was shocked, hurt, and felt betrayed to my core. I could barely breathe and felt sick to my stomach. It seemed surreal that I had booked his return flight without hesitation when he called crying, only to now hear him admit to cheating with a stranger. Overwhelmed by emotions, I ran to the bathroom. Michael kept apologizing over and over, saying how much he regretted his actions. I couldn't stay in the same room with him anymore, so I grabbed my coat and left. I needed time to think. No matter how much I thought about it, I couldn't figure out what to do. My husband had cheated and admitted to enjoying kissing another woman, but we had such a long history together, and he had never betrayed me like this before. When we discussed his travel plans, I never doubted him because I knew his character so well. I knew this one incident didn't define who he was as a person. When I returned home that night, Michael was asleep on the couch, and it looked like he had been crying. I left him there and spent the night tossing and turning in bed, trying to figure out what to do next. The next morning, I sat Michael down and told him we had two options: either separate immediately or try to work things out together. If we stayed together, he would have to work hard to repair what he had broken. I told him I was disappointed but willing to try if he was serious about making things right. Michael hugged me tightly, thanking me for giving him another chance and promising never to do anything like this again. But it wasn't over yet. I demanded that Michael find a job and pay back all the money I had sent during his travels. His eyes widened when I explained that I had paid for everything out of kindness, and he had betrayed that trust by cheating. I said if we were starting fresh, it was only fair that he repay everything. Michael didn't seem entirely convinced but agreed. For the next few months, we continued living together while he looked for work, hoping to repair our relationship and overcome his betrayal. After searching for a while, he found a job as an office assistant, though it didn't pay much. I had hoped for a better position for him, but starting from the bottom made sense given his limited work history. They explained his salary would increase with time and experience. Michael gave me part of his expenses with each paycheck and kept up with his student loan payments. We split the rent according to our incomes, with Michael paying his share while I covered the majority. I agreed to this arrangement as long as he gradually took on more responsibility. As we rebuilt our relationship, I began to trust Michael again, falling in love once more with his smile and laughter. We got to know each other's families, grew closer, and eventually started discussing marriage. While we both wanted to get married, we had different ideas about the ceremony. Michael wanted a big traditional wedding, but I didn't want to spend thousands of dollars. One day, I suggested using that money for an amazing honeymoon across several countries instead. Michael loved the idea since we had never traveled abroad together. After a small ceremony with close friends and family, we embarked on our honeymoon. Traveling and adventuring with my husband was incredibly joyful. We relaxed on beaches and tried new cuisines, creating wonderful memories together. For someone who rarely took time off work like me, it was a much-needed vacation. When we returned home, I felt refreshed and excited to return to normal life. After the trip, I realized I finally wanted to pursue my dream of starting my own business. I had always wanted this, but had been afraid of failing. The trip taught me the importance of freedom and flexibility, giving me the courage to take action. I discussed quitting my job to focus on the business with Michael. He was worried about losing my income, but I promised that once the business took off, we'd have more money and freedom to travel. I mentioned that if things went well, Michael could quit his job too. He agreed, and I left my job to start a new chapter in my life. Over the years, I worked tirelessly to build my business. It wasn't always easy, but I achieved success. The business thrived and prospered, allowing me to fulfill my promises to Michael. As planned, we bought a beautiful beachfront house that he loved. The business income was more than enough for both of us, enabling Michael to quit his job. During this time, our daughter Kayla was born, becoming our greatest gift. When Kayla was born, I took time off work to stay home. Thankfully, with my employees' help, the business continued running smoothly, allowing me to spend guilt-free time with newborn Kayla. Kayla got along wonderfully with both Michael and me, sharing jokes and spending countless hours playing, laughing, and learning together. Watching Kayla grow into a kind and curious young person became my life's greatest joy. Since Kayla always said she wanted to work with her mother, she started summer internships at the company when she turned 16. I taught her everything about the business from scratch, hoping she would eventually take over while I retired. Life seemed perfect until last year when I accidentally discovered Michael was taking anxiety medication. Finding hidden pills in the bathroom cabinet, I asked him about them, but he became defensive and told me to stay out of his business. Concerned, I told him we could talk about it gently. After many conversations, Michael admitted he had been feeling bored and depressed in our marriage recently. I was shocked since we went on regular dates and took 3 vacations a year to wherever he wanted. We lived in a big city with a housekeeper and personal trainer that Michael could use anytime he wanted. While I was busy with the business, Michael spent his time golfing and going out with friends from his country club. I had given him everything he wanted and more, creating what I thought was a perfect life. Because I wanted Michael to be happy, I asked if there was anything specific bothering him. He said there wasn't anything particular, but admitted he had been secretly seeing a therapist to work through his issues. I hugged him and assured him there was no shame in seeking help, telling him he could always talk to me. Michael added that he and his therapist had discussed his feeling that our marriage lacked passion. When I asked in confusion what he meant, Michael suggested an open marriage to add mystery to our relationship. I asked how an open marriage would solve anything, and he explained he felt stuck and wanted to add excitement to his life. I shook my head, realizing this had always been his pattern when things got too comfortable. I was shocked that his therapist would suggest open marriage without fully understanding our relationship. I made it clear to Michael that I could never accept an open marriage. I told him if he really wanted an open marriage, our only option would be divorce. Michael became upset and flustered, quickly backtracking and claiming it was just a suggestion. I had given him everything I promised and more, yet here he was asking for the right to see other people. I encouraged him to find meaning in his life and appreciate the good things we had. Michael seemed to understand this would be our final discussion on the matter. We continued our date nights, and he never mentioned open marriage again, taking his medication as prescribed. I hoped everything would improve with time, always trying to listen and support his feelings. However, this year brought new challenges. The business was shrinking as we lost many customers. We had to close our second largest location, resulting in a significant loss. Since I'd always been open with family about the business, I told Michael and Kayla about closing the store, and they understood my frustration. When Kayla asked about future plans, Michael started expressing anxiety about our financial future. I tried to reassure them that businesses face challenges, and we had enough savings to cover the losses. But Michael insisted we should stop the losses and sell the business. He always said this when situations became difficult. I couldn't understand why he worried so much, but I knew that as an entrepreneur, you have to overcome challenges to see better days. Since the business was our main income source, I didn't want to give up easily, believing we could recover with time. When I tried to discuss this with Michael, he became angry, saying I wasn't considering his feelings. I tried to reassure him we could handle everything, but he just scoffed at me. Michael said he was tired of listening to me and that I should have stayed in my office job since I wasn't cut out for business. Those words cut deep, considering everything I had done for our family. I couldn't believe he would say this after all I'd provided for the family through the business. The conversation escalated into a huge fight, with Michael calling me a loser, failure, and incompetent, before announcing he was packing his bags and leaving. I was completely shocked by Michael's attitude, unable to understand how a simple business discussion had escalated so dramatically. Kayla tried to calm her father down but found herself in a difficult position when he demanded she choose between staying with me or going with him. Kayla was visibly torn and began crying while I tried to reason with Michael. Finally, Kayla refused to go with her father, and we watched Michael walk away. Those days were filled with confusion for us, unable to understand why Michael had made such a decision. I couldn't figure out what I had done wrong to my lifelong best friend. Though Kayla suggested it might be temporary, Michael didn't respond to contact for several days, cutting off all communication. I couldn't afford to lie in bed depressed, so I focused on rebuilding the business. Perhaps naively, I thought if I could fix the business, I could save our marriage too. A month later, Michael contacted me and asked to meet for dinner to talk. Though I had a feeling our marriage was over and it would be painful to meet, I agreed. At dinner, Michael explained he had been unhappy in our marriage and decided on divorce after our month apart. Kayla was shocked. I remained silent, trying to understand everything as I had sensed this coming. Michael kept saying he would move out and take his things. When I asked if he had found a new place, he laughed and said he didn't need to, he would be moving in with his girlfriend. I felt hurt, confused, and couldn't believe what I was hearing. He explained he had unexpectedly met a young woman last month and fallen in love. He said they connected instantly and were strongly attracted to each other. He wanted to start a relationship with her and be happy, so they decided to live together. He wanted a quick, peaceful divorce without asking for compensation since my business was struggling. Despite feeling disappointed and hurt, I agreed to the divorce. Kayla was angry and condemned her father for abandoning his family. Michael tried to justify himself, saying he had done his best, and offered Kayla the option to live with him and his girlfriend, but she angrily refused. Kayla declared she wouldn't abandon family like her father had, and tearfully said she chose me while holding my hand. We ended dinner early without further discussion. Kayla was quieter than usual, and it broke my heart to sometimes catch her crying in the bathroom. While I had time to process my emotions, I wanted to scream and cry at Michael's betrayal. I couldn't believe he was asking for a peaceful divorce as if I were the villain. I was struggling with Michael's treatment of us and its impact on our daughter. Update 1. I'm glad I posted on Reddit. The advice helped me stay calm. If Michael doesn't want to be involved, I should let him go without asking for compensation or fighting. Kayla and I spend quality time together, supporting each other and focusing on our hobbies. Kayla is showing talent in the business too. However, yesterday brought unexpected news. Michael's 25-year-old girlfriend Nicole contacted me, and we met at a cafe. She nervously confessed she was pregnant with Michael's child. She revealed they had been involved for a year, and Michael had lied about the divorce. She learned the truth through a call with the lawyer. This meant Michael had been cheating for about a year. The time he claimed to spend golfing was actually spent with her instead of friends or therapy. Nicole deeply apologized, saying she wouldn't have gotten involved had she known he was married. She seemed genuinely regretful and scared about the pregnancy. When she told Michael about it, he became angry and told her to take care of it, because he wasn't ready for children. I felt a mix of anger at my husband's betrayal, sympathy for Nicole, and concern for the unborn child. Even in my own pain, I couldn't help feeling sorry for this young woman who had been manipulated by my husband. When I told Kayla everything at home, she was angry at Michael but felt sorry for Nicole and the baby. We decided to keep this information confidential for now. I'm torn between wanting to expose Michael's lies and wanting to proceed quietly with the divorce. My lawyer advised that the affair and child could affect property division. I offered support to Nicole, but I need to focus on rebuilding my business right now. Thanks to loyal customers, we're slowly regaining stability. The situation has become more complicated with the discovery of Michael's long-term affair and pregnancy, but I'm trying to find the best way forward. Though I'm trying to stay strong for Kayla and myself, some days are still difficult. Update 2. Several months have passed since the last update. I confronted Michael in a neutral location and told him everything. He showed anger and surprise, admitted to the affair, and apologized. But the most shocking revelation was Michael's confession that he wasn't the father of Nicole's baby. He said Nicole had been involved with multiple men and had chosen him as the father because of his financial stability. This news affected me deeply. While I was still angry about Michael's infidelity, I felt an odd sense of justice knowing he had been deceived too. Though he seemed genuinely remorseful, I told him our marriage was over. I decided to distance myself from Nicole's situation and focus on my own healing and supporting Kayla. The business is showing signs of improvement, and our implemented changes are beginning to bear fruit. We've successfully expanded to a new location, and Kayla is demonstrating excellent skills in customer relationship management. The divorce proceedings are going smoothly, with Michael agreeing to fair terms without dispute and moving to another state for a fresh start. Kayla has become my rock, and our bond has grown stronger through her maturity and strength. She's expressed interest in taking a more active role in the business after college graduation. I've begun rediscovering myself beyond the roles of wife and mother. I joined a local business owners group and started painting as a hobby. Though some days are still difficult with resurfacing pain and anger, I've learned to trust my instincts more and recognize my own worth. I realized Michael and I had been growing apart even before the affair. While there were mistakes in our marriage, I won't take responsibility for his decisions. This experience has taught me the importance of resilience, self-esteem, and honest communication. Though I'm not ready for a new romantic relationship, I maintain cautious optimism about the future while focusing on my daughter, business, and self-growth. Update 3. The divorce was finalized 2 months ago. Ending a 20-year marriage brought complex emotions, but it also marked the beginning of a new life. For Kayla's sake, Michael and I maintain an amicable co-parenting relationship. Kayla is in her final year of studies and has received a job offer from a prestigious company. Her help with the family business has been invaluable, and I'm proud of the strong, compassionate woman she's become. The business has more than recovered, with revenues reaching new heights. The challenges led me to innovation and growth. I've experienced unexpected personal growth, particularly through meeting Daniel, who's 45. As single parents and entrepreneurs, we related to each other, and our relationship developed naturally over time. He respects my boundaries and supports my independence. Last month, I ran into a visibly pregnant Nicole at the store. She looked tired as she apologized and informed me she had found the real father. I wished her well as we parted ways. I feel a sense of closure regarding Michael. Through Kayla, I hear he's started a new job in his new city and is working on rebuilding his relationship with her. I support this since he remains Kayla's father. I'm amazed at how much this year of pain and betrayal has transformed me. Though I felt like I had disappeared for a while, I've now discovered my strength and realized I'm stronger than I thought. I've learned it's never too late to start a new chapter in life. Today, I stood at the opening ceremony of our new headquarters. Kayla cut the ribbon to thunderous applause from our employees. She is my pride and has become the perfect successor. Daniel squeezed my hand gently and whispered words of congratulation. Our relationship has grown slowly as we understood each other's past. Next month, we're planning a small wedding ceremony. Kayla has given us her heartfelt blessing. Recently, Nicole stopped by the store with her baby. She seemed to have built a happy family with the real father. Looking back, she too was at a crossroads in life and found her own path. As for Michael, I only hear about him occasionally through Kayla. Apparently, he's been moving between low-paying jobs lately. But that's no longer part of my life. At night, Daniel and I sit on the terrace under the full moon, discussing our future dreams. There's a peaceful happiness here that I never could have imagined before. I realize how my painful past has made me stronger and wiser. Kayla says, "Mom, you're my pride." Those words confirm that everything is moving in the right direction. Life wasn't ending, it was waiting for a new beginning. Finally, I whispered to myself, "Thank you, life, for these challenges." They led me from weakness to strength, from dependence to independence, and to finding new love. Let me end this blog with these words: life is on your side more than you think.